The innocence in that dream that I had was the very fact that I found a passion within storytelling. The 100 subscribers that I had back then made me feel better than the 95% I was scoring back in high school. They were like, यार ये सब चीजें हॉबी तक ठीक है, इन सब चीजों को अब साइड रख और अब कुछ रियल कर. On 22nd July 2017, I withdrew from the National Defense Academy. And well, that was where the defining moment of my life started. I didn't have a single penny attached to my name, and all on the top of it, I was owing people money. पर अगर एक बार वो पैशन की आग अंदर से लग जाए ना, तो उसको बुझाना possible. You know, I strongly believe that if a person finds their true passion in life, that becomes all the push that they need to push forward. That one push is all that they need to chase their dreams, their goals, their objectives, and run for their happiness. That passion of theirs becomes their happiness. That passion becomes their satisfaction. और वो कुछ भी हो सकता है. It can be business, it can be education, it can be sports, it can be music, it can be anything. पर अगर एक बार वो passion की आग अंदर से लग जाए ना यार, तो उसको बुझाना impossible. Well, talking about myself, I had a passion for storytelling. कहानियाँ बताने का शौक था. And I ran for it with all that I had. You know, regardless of the amount of hate that I received, regardless of the amount of bullying that I received, regardless of the amount of people who disbelieved in me, I ran after my dreams. And that is probably why I'm standing here right in front of you, telling you my story. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paritosh Anand. I'm 21 years old, and I am here to tell you that it's true if you believe. Well, I grew up in a very small town in Dehradun. Having grown up in a village and having my family move into Dehradun at an early stage made me grow up as an introvert in high school. And I really found it difficult to express what I had within. You know, बात करने में काफी अंदर से hesitations होता था. You know, I was a little shy back in high school, and I was slightly overweight as well. So eventually, my identity in high school became ये वही मोटा है ना जो हकलाता है. So more than my talent, I was being called and known for this identity of mine. Now, you might believe that इसमें क्या ही बड़ी deal है. But ask a 13-year-old kid, ask a 13-year-old shy kid who would go back home every single day with this doubt in his head that what exactly is wrong with him. क्या कमी रह रही है? मेरे अंदर इसमें भी ऐसी भी क्या कमी है that I am not able to stand up for my own self. So I was like, okay, yaar, ये चलता रहेगा, but if at all there is a solution to any of this, it is within me. So, having grown up as a musician, I was taught how to play the piano at the age of 4. तो काफी शुरू से ही एक छोटा सा coping mechanism मेरा रहता था that after a huge and a long day, I used to go back home, sit in front of my piano, and just went out. Just let it go. I used to feel whatever I felt, and I used to let it out. So that became my coping mechanism. I kind of tried to gather all the courage that I had within, and I was like, ki koi baat nahi yaar. All this while, I've been known for an identity, let's try and change it. So, for the first time in my high school, I played on stage. And the moment I got off, I got a standing ovation. Now, this was that little segment in my life where I felt accepted for my true identity, for my true talent. So, I realized that music was doing for me what words do for people. I knew that words weren't my best friends. So I started using music as something that could be my tool to expressing myself. And well, that very day I realized two very important lessons that have helped shape me the man that I am today. Number one, people will keep coming at you until and unless you give them a reason not to. They will keep coming at you until and unless you tell them that, okay, I have the courage to stand up for my own self, one way or the other. And number two, all of us, we're here searching for ways to express ourselves. Initially, it's always hard, but it always comes down to the very fact that we are in process of finding ways to express ourselves. वो ज़रिए की तलाश. That is what we're here for. I found it in music. I found it in creative arts. And that was what worked for me. Well, down the line, as I was trying to figure out more ways of expressing myself and the art that I had within, I came up with this very small and a very cute incident that happened in my life. So it was the 5th of September, Teachers' Day, and there was a video that was playing in our auditorium. Now, what was special about that video was that the moment that video got over, the moment that the post credits started rolling in, the moment that the names of the people who had made that video started rolling in, the reaction of the audience went crazy. People were at the top of their voices. People were shouting. People were applauding. Those names were getting the recognition. So, I got really, really very curious. I was like, कि ये भी कौन लोग हैं जिनको अपने काम की वजह से अपने नाम को पहचान मिल रही है? So I got to know that these people used to sit in the library almost every single day, and they used to work on new concepts of videos. तो पूरा ऐसे courage एकदम gather करके I was like कि भैया आज तो इनसे जाके बात करनी है, आज तो इनसे पूछना पड़ेगा कि क्या है ये, what exactly is it? Initially I was hesitating. I was like कि नहीं हो पाएगा, but I gathered the courage. I went up to them and I asked them कि भैया ये आप videos कैसे बनाते हो? And to my surprise, they were pretty cool about it. They were like कि तू आ, तू बैठ, हम तेरे को सिखाते हैं. So they made me sit down. They introduced me to a few softwares. And well, that was the very day that I came back home और मैंने बोला कि भैया अब तो बनेगी सीधा फिल्म फेयर में जाने वाली वीडियो. अब मैं जीतूंगा ऑस्कर. उठाया मैंने अपनी मम्मी का फ़ोन, 2-3 वीडियोज़ इधर ऐसी बनाई, उनको कंपाइल करके एक वीडियो बनाया और बोल दिया मम्मा को कि मम्मा ये जाएगी ऑस्कर में. But the very fact being, the innocence in that dream that I had was the very fact that I found a passion within storytelling. I found a passion in telling what I felt through a medium. It was music for me before, and initially, and eventually, it came down to filmmaking. So, experiment करने शुरू कर दिए वहाँ पे. मैंने कहा कि अभी तक बैक कैमरा से रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है, अब मैंने कहा कि फ्रंट कैमरा से भी शुरू करते हैं. ये क्या है? लोग होते हैं ना, लोग दिखा रहे जिंदगी. मैंने कहा कि मैं अपने थ्रू, अपनी आंखों के थ्रू लोगों को अपनी जिंदगी दिखाऊंगा. I'll show the world through my perspective. That was the initial aim. And well, बहुत simple. I started showing my daily routine. मैं पढ़ते हुए दिखाया, खाना बनाते हुए दिखाया, खेलते हुए दिखाया, लॉन टेनिस खेलते हुए दिखाया, ट्रेनिंग करते हुए दिखाया. Anything and everything that I could possibly show so that I could have कि हाँ भैया चलो. All of this was being done with the singular and sole aim of me writing my name at the end of that video and visualizing that name to pop up on the top of that screen and people shouting at the top of their voices. वो एक हल्का सा ख्वाब था यार कि ये वाली वीडियो भी कभी उस स्टेज पे चलेगी, ये वाली वीडियो भी चलेगी और लोग चिल्ला चिल्ला के इस चीज को अप्रिशिएट करेंगे. एक हल्का सा सपना था इस चीज का. So I started uploading my videos on the social media, and well, 7 was the total number of views that I got in the first 10 videos that I uploaded. उसमें भी 4 कमेंट्स आते थे. एक मेरी मम्मी का, एक मेरे पापा का, एक मेरे भाई का और एक मेरी दूसरी आईडी का. खुद को मोटिवेट करता था मैं कि भाई देख, गुड जॉब. So initially all of it started, and well, through all of these roots that I had, through the very initial phase that I had into videography and filmmaking, I got into this vibe and into this groove where I knew that these numbers don't really matter. What I'm in it for is that vibe that I get when the video ends. When I see my name on that screen. When I'm like, okay, yahan I was able to speak my truth through this video. So that was what happened. I started uploading my videos, and gradually, people started discovering me as well. People outside the 4 walls of our house, people started to getting to know me. My audience increased. And well, quite honestly, the 100 subscribers that I had back then made me feel better than the 95% I was scoring back in high school. So I continued working on it. And with time, I got brands to contact me as well. With the musical shows that I was doing, I started earning by the time the high school was coming to an end. So I really wanted to pursue this full time, and I discovered that this really is a full-time career as well. There are people out there who really making videos for a making. So I was like, why not? But in the Indian society, all of this, creative arts, is still a very, very new concept. So when I went back home, and I was like, okay, this is something that I really wanted to do. They were like, यार ये सब चीजें हॉबी तक ठीक है, इन सब चीजों को अब साइड रख और अब कुछ रियल कर. That was what I was told. So, of all the options that I had back then, Having also scored an All India rank of 688 and 240 in my 3 SSBs that I gave, I enrolled into the National Defense Academy in June 2017. 22 days. I spent 22 days in the academy, and every single night I would come back to my own cabin and realize and go into that deep thinking phase. I would ask myself this one very simple question कि यार एक बात बता, आज से 40 साल बाद जब तू एक चेयर पे बैठा होगा, तू क्या सोचेगा? Won't you regret having not given this even one single attempt? Won't you regret not knowing what the other side of your life, had you followed your passion, would have been? Won't you regret it, having not followed the life of your passion? It took me 22 days to realize that I was a cultural misfit in the academy. I had a choice back then. A choice between choosing what the society would accept me for and what I would accept myself for. And needless to say, I went for the latter. On 22nd July 2017, I withdrew from the National Defense Academy. And well, that was where the defining moment of my life started. तू वीडियोस बनाएगा, तू academy छोड़ के आया, तू पागल हो गया क्या? These were the words I got from every single person when I got back home. Every single person. Despite the amount of doubt that the society was throwing at me, despite the amount of social boycotting, despite the amount of isolation that I had to go through, I kind of had this one thing within me that, okay, now there is no need for me to look back. There is no way that I can go back from here because the decision has already been taken. I cannot go back from this place and be like, yaar, okay, क्या ये जो चीज़ लोग बोल रहे हैं वो सही है? I couldn't do it. I had no other option. So I wrapped my head around my work. I made sure that whatever I was doing it with full passion, full intensity. Well, be it working on my online businesses, be it working on the videos that I was putting out, be it working on the podcast that I was putting out, be it working on the speeches, the travels, the content, the commercial shoots, each and every bit of it, I made sure that I was doing it all. I made sure that I was swamped with work every single day. I made sure that I'd come back home every single day and say कि यार आज इतना कल इससे भी ज़्यादा. I had people to prove wrong. And more than that, I had people to prove right as well. I had myself to prove right. I had my decision to prove right. 2019 felt like the year of my life. I was going out there, working on my online businesses, traveling every single other day. I was on a flight every single day, traveling for my speeches, for my content, for my shoots, for my meetings, making sure that I'm out there, proving people right, proving my decision right, and the ones who hated for me, proving them wrong. I was out there, I was at it, making sure I'm doing everything possible to run after my dreams, to run after my passion. So, while I was on a high, while I was on a total winning streak in 2019, something happened that put me on a back foot. I was in Bali, Indonesia in 2019, shooting for a commercial project of mine while I was shooting at the edge of a cliff. And while shooting it, there came a high tide. और उस high tide में, not only did it almost end up taking away my life, it took away all the equipment that I had back then. That equipment had costed me lakhs and lakhs of rupees. It took away all the savings that I developed in all of these years. जितना भी काम करा था, सारा का सारा पानी के अंदर. I came back to India with nothing to my name. I had no idea where I would go from this point on onwards. I had no idea how to get back up. I didn't have a single penny attached to my name, and all on the top of it, I was owing people money. That was another phase of my life where I entered into a self-doubt and a self-evaluation phase. It took me back to the very fundamental purpose of me having starting it all. It took me back to the days where I started every bit of it. Why did I do it? What made me do it? What made me overcome all the hatred? What made me overcome every bit of the disbelief that the people had in me? What was it that made me believe more in myself than in the people and their beliefs? I chased that purpose. I chased my passion all over again. I did whatever I possibly could. I went back to shooting with my phone for my YouTube videos. I went back to doing musical shows every single night. I was shooting ever since. Even then, I was traveling for all of my work. I was making sure that I was doing everything possible to meet my ends. I was making sure that I am cutting down at all possible costs. I was saving up as much as possible, be it traveling in local buses to avoid hotel costs, be it sleeping in those buses, be it eating at langars to avoid lunch or dinner costs. I was doing everything possible to make sure I am saving every single penny and making sure that it's invested in the right direction. Every single day, I would come back home tired, exhausted, not knowing where to go from this point on onwards because my bank balance was still zero. Yet, all I had with me was my passion to do more, to be more, and chase the singular purpose of my happiness. And well, that was what I did. As of 2020, I run 2 online businesses. I co-host a podcast, which is the top comedy podcast in all of India. I'm being followed by more than 130,000 people all over the country. I travel all over the world. I travel all over the cities. I make sure that all of the values and all of the experiences that I've gained all of this while, through the story that I've had, through the experiences that I've had, are given to the people around me. And I make sure that every bit of it is taken value from. Because I know for a fact that if I can stand here and make sure that I am delivering every single bit of it, if I can stand here as someone who came up and overcame all of the challenges that I faced and came up and overcame all of the failures that I faced, if I can stand up after having gotten up every single time I got down, I can come up to you and say, that is true if you believe. Thank you, Josh.
Tell us what you think about this video and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.